Hello, everybody. Welcome to Module 8. This is it. You guys are almost done. Just one more module for this graduate course. So today it's going to be a short video as we're just kind of wrapping up everything. But I wanted to just remind everybody of where we've been from this course. Of course, this class is reading and writing instruction, and reading and writing instruction involves all of the language arts. And so we've talked about all of those language arts in this class. So I hope that what you have learned is you have practiced these language arts and you've learned how to teach students. You know, we started with going over what the 6 language arts are, and that all of those different areas. We looked at, of course, listening, and you have to be listeners as teachers, right? And you have to teach your kids that active listening. And we talked about active listening and speaking. You've done speaking through videos. And one of the reasons I asked you to do videos, I know for some of you it was an inconvenience if you're not teaching, it's because I wanted to hear you with the speaking. That's a part of what we're learning in this class. So we have to speak with clarity, with confidence, and that's essential for our students also to learn the speaking skills. Of course, reading. You've done a lot of reading in the class. It's a skill that it's at the core of this course. We've looked at scholarly articles, curriculum resources, research-based frameworks, and so forth. And we know that reading is not just decoding. Reading is understanding, questioning, and then applying information. Of course, writing, that's another major part of this course. So you've written lesson plans, you've written reflections, you've written a lot of different critiques. So writing is a way to make our thinking visible, and that's why it's so important. We've looked at viewing and visually representing. All of you created an infograph. You've looked at other different kinds of charts and posters and so forth. And so we know that our students need to know how to view information and interpret it. And you need to be able to create those visuals through presentations or infographics or diagrams, whatever it might be. We then looked at this through the framework of Scarborough's reading rope, because we know that that aligns with the science of reading, and all of these components work together, right? They support reading. We also looked at the writing rope and saw those different components. So what I want you to see, what I hope you see in this course is that the 6 language arts are not isolated skills. They work together, they support and strengthen each other, and they should create a full, rich environment for your students. So the 6 language arts, like the writing rope, form a braid. The listening supports the speaking, the reading informs the writing, the viewing deepens the understanding, visually representing strengthens communication. It all aligns together, and together they prepare our students to thrive in society, in an academic and social and even digital spaces. So as we close, I want you to just reflect about the 6 language arts. Maybe some challenged you more than others. How will you use the information in this course to redefine and help and support your own teaching? And I want to go over now your assignment for this week, which is basically the other half of the assignment that you were to do for week 7. So I did want to mention, if you, to get to this particular module, you need to do course evaluations. I would really love your feedback for course evaluations, so please complete those. This is a new course development for me, so any feedback you can give, I would definitely welcome. Okay, so you're going to be happy to know you have no discussion posts this week. I want you to just concentrate on this big project. And so as I look at our aim, so what's our objectives for this course? We want to identify key considerations when planning language arts and evaluate assessment data to plan differentiated instruction. Those are the 2 things we're going to do. I do have some articles for your reference. that may help you as you are planning your small group instruction. One is called Maximizing Small Group Instruction. These might be some resources that you might want to consider as you're doing your reflection, but we have a good article here about how maximizing small group instruction, how to make it work. And so again, that might be a good article for you. I have a couple of videos that you might want to watch about small group instruction. I really like this one about small group differentiated instruction. And so it shows some different ways that you can group that small group instruction. So that may give you ideas. And then you have some more resources that might help you as you think about this final project. So let's get into that final project. I'm going to go over the directions again, and then I'm going to show you an example from last semester. The data is different. So, okay, so each of you were to pick a class set of data. You could have picked the primary or the intermediate. So let's say you picked the primary, and I have this data here. And you have all of your kiddos. We have your reading information, your writing, and speaking and listening, and any unique characteristics. And so each set has 20. So you can pick the grade 1 option, or you can pick the intermediate option. So either option, whatever you feel comfortable with. So intermediate option is grade 5. So you're going to do 1 or 5. So here's our grade 5. So you're going to look at that. What you were supposed to do last week, or in module 7, it was non-graded, but I wanted you to get started on that, is to put your students in groups. And we really, since the science of reading, we don't so much call it guided reading. I actually need to change it. It's more, I would say, structured reading groups. So you're going to have structured reading groups, because guided reading is more leveled text, and it doesn't have to be just leveled text. You can do skills for structured reading groups. So you are going to put your kiddos in as few as 4, but not any more than 6. So here are your groups. You're going to put the names of the kids, the reason for grouping them, and the focus of the group. I want you to make sure that you put your standards in there. I know some of you teach in private schools and even overseas, and you don't, I think it's a little bit harder for you because those standards aren't really as paramount as those of us in the United States. We are teaching those specific standards, but I want you to have those standards, because without a standard, you don't know what you're supposed to teach. So we really need those standards in there. So that was what you're supposed to do in week 7. So you're putting them in your groups. So in a normal ELA block, I literally just worked with someone, a teacher, on this yesterday, and he has a smaller class. He has 16 students. And so we were looking at his data, and I talked to him about almost all schools have a 2-hour reading block. So I said, if you have a 2-hour reading block, we worked on a schedule about the first 45 minutes. He is doing whole group instruction where he is teaching grade level standards. Many times it's using a basal approach or literature-based approach. He's using a basal approach called Savez. So I went over that with him. That's teaching those grade level standards. Then he has a 1-hour block of time where students are in centers, and he is teaching a small group. So just like what you have, these structured small groups, he and I worked. We looked at some scores, we looked at core phonics, we looked at iReady data, we looked at all this data. Now those kids are going to be in groups. He has a smaller class, so we have 4 groups. We have a reason for the grouping. Maybe it's comprehension, maybe it's fluency, maybe it is related to a phonics skill. It could be writing too, okay? Then we're going to have the focus. And then we're coming up with some other centers. So while we have the kids, he has a smaller class. So he has 3 groups. And so one group will always be with him. And then the other 2 are going to be in centers, and then they're going to rotate. You have to have at least 4. You will always be one center, and then the students will rotate. So what you're doing and what the first thing that you're supposed to do in Module 7 is to put those kids in their groups, okay? What you're doing this week is you're going to finish the assignment, and that consists of the following. So you've put them in groups. Now what you need to do is come up with centers for those groups. So let me show you that. So here is a template for this. So you're going to have your center, the standards it addresses, and the reason for the center. And I want you to think about the 6 language arts, right? That's the purpose of this class. As you do these centers, how are you going to incorporate viewing and interpreting that visual? How are you going to teach writing and reading? How are you going to teach speaking and listening? It's all part of it. So you're going to have the centers. Then, let's go to the next one. After you've done that, you are going to explain how you, what centers each child should go into. So, let me show you that template. Here we go. You're going to put the student's name. You're going to put the reading group that they're in. So what reading group are they in? Those are the reading groups that you did in Module 7. What centers do you want that student to go to? And then why do you want them to go to those centers? So you may have 6 centers. Well, they can't go into 6 centers. They need to go into 3 of those, and you need to explain why. And then the last part, you're going to have a reflection. And in that reflection, you are going to explain the following. You're going to explain, let me see, that reflection of learning. Okay, so here are the 4 parts. Part 1, the structured small groups. What are the groups? Who are in it? What's the focus? Second part, here are my centers. They correlate with standards. Here's why I need the centers. Third part, you list each student, what group they're in, what centers they're in, and why. And then you have a reflection. And when you go into the rubric, we can see here that the reflection, we want analytical, critical thinking, connects to classroom learning from the course and a biblical world view. So this is your rubric. I'll be looking at guided reading groups, or structured reading groups. We'll be looking at the centers, the student placement, your reflection and writing. It should be an APA. Now, I want to show you an example because I think that will help if I show you an example, because it is a pretty big project. This is from another year I did this, and I know a lot of times students say, can you post it? I can't post it. It's someone else's work, but you can watch this and get ideas, okay? Mm-hmm. So what I want you to see is, here's the first thing that the student did. The student has each student in different groups, and this is different data, different kids and everything. So we have a first grade group, and we have these 4 students. We have the reason for grouping, and then she put the focus of the group, and you notice she has those standards there. So you have the 4 kiddos, and they are kids that are, she says, they know most or all of their letters. They can write sentences. They appear to be working in reading at or above grade level. And so her group, this group for first graders, is going to challenge them to do more writing, to read grade level texts with accuracy and automaticity, and really work with that comprehension. So here she has her yellow group. See how many groups she has with hers. Again, this is totally different. Her orange group and her red group. I think she only had 4 groups. I was wrong. 5. Okay, so here's her fifth group. So that's what you should have already done in module 7. Now she has her centers. So she's going to have a word work center. She has her standards and the reason for the center. The center will address to reading and writing. She wants to increase phonological and phonemic awareness. And she even has some research there to support that. Then she's going to have, notice one thing that she has, and it's, you'll see on the rubric, if you want to get like a really, really good score, she's differentiated that center. So all the kids are going to do word work, but level 1 kids are going to be doing something different than level 2 and level 3 kiddos. So that differentiation, you can do one center and have differentiation based on what you give them. So she's going to do a word work center. She's going to have a story sequence center. You notice that she has the standards and why, justification. She's going to have a multisensory alphabet center, manipulating sentence center, reader's theater. You know, that's probably going to be for fluency, right? And a sight word, hopscotch center. So those are her centers. Then the last part, you're going to put each kid, you have the kid, what group are they in and why? What 3 centers do you want them in and why? Okay. And so she has all of the kids, the centers they're in, and then finally her reflection. She explained the importance of doing the center, the details, what she used, what she learned, and then her references. Okay. So again, we have 4 parts. Part number 1, you should have already done. And that's why I tried to break this up because it is such a large assignment. Part 1, put your kids in your reading groups. You should have done that in module 7. The reason for the grouping and the focus. Yeah. Part 2, what are your 4 to 6 centers? What are the standards that align with those centers? And why do you have the centers? Part 3, each student you will list. You're going to put what reading group they're in, what other centers do you want them to be in, and why, based on data. And then the 4th part is your reflection. Okay. So to kind of tie, the reason I wanted you to do this assignment is because this is like real life. This is like what real teachers do all the time, right? We have to look at data. We have to have those intervention groups, those small groups. We want the centers. And what I want you to see is you can integrate these language arts into these centers if you do it with intentionality. I want to thank you for your commitment, your curiosity, your hard work throughout this course. I know at times it's been very challenging, but you guys have done a great job. It's been a privilege to work with you as you've really deepened your knowledge. I know we have people that are going to be literacy specialists. We have people in this class are administrators. We have people that are going to be educational or already educational therapists. You guys are already doing this. So as we move forward, remember literacy, it's more than just reading and writing. It's all the 6 language arts. It's dynamic. It's a powerful tool that really can help our students make sense of the world. And I am very proud of all of you, all the work that you have done this semester, and I'm really looking forward to these case studies. I did want to tell you that this is one of the assignments that I absolutely cannot take late work on. Our online graduate classes, or actually all of our online classes, go a week longer than every other class. So my undergrad classes end this week. I'm doing finals this week. I have to have grades in immediately. And so there is no time to wait on grades. So this assignment needs to be in on time because I'm going to have the registrar emailing me saying you need to get your grades in. So make this, it just has to be done, and then you'll be done, and then you will have the opportunity to rest over Christmas. So again, it's been a blessing. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I am going to have office hours this Thursday. It'll be the last office hours. This will be a great time if you have questions about this last assignment. Okay, thank you.